we welcome the night.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Horror Night Oasis, a radio show where we discuss all the latest movies and news from the world of horror. Joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host, Ian. Ian, are you there?
I am.
How are you this week, sir?
I am tired and sore and ready to talk horror.
Yeah, I've my sleep schedule's been all over the place, and I do have one thing I want to talk about beforehand before we get into this marathon. But yeah, we're here to talk horror as always, and we got one to kick off the marathon with, like we always do. We usually manage to find that one to kick it off, and that usually starts the ball rolling. And yeah, so our Halloween grab bag marathon is here. It's upon us. We got a pretty big month ahead of us of again, movie watching and reviews and what other goodies might be in store for us, because again, that's the whole reason I call it a grab bag. We've been doing the marathon for a couple years, but I think last year was the year I finally gave it a name, and the Halloween grab bag kind of rings true to what we've had to endure sometimes. But we have one film set up, ready for tonight. But here's the thing, Ian. I did not know this. I looked over this past weekend. Again, I'm not going out to the theaters anytime soon because of everything going on. But there's a horror movie. It's not Antebellum, but it's just a film that got released called Shortcut. And apparently it's like a Jeepers Creepers 2 type film. And I'm like, I really want to go see it. But I'm not going to, I could see it on, it's like 1 o'clock on a Tuesday or whenever there's not a crowd there. I was tempted, but I couldn't because I have a family member that's, I'm clear, when I got tested for my surgery and everything like that. But, I'm clear, but I got a family member that's really susceptible, and I can't have that happen to them. If I'm a carrier, I don't even know it, give it to them, whatever. But, I was tempted to go see it. Of course I know all the, the guidelines and everything, but it was interesting to see a film in theaters, a new horror film, randomly called Shortcut.
Right.
And
I haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, it's like randomly, like all of a sudden Shortcut. But again, I like it because it's like it's a creature feature, and I always said it's like the worst possible time. Because again, it's like when I read up on it, they say it's like Jeepers Creepers 2, where it's like people trapped on a bus with a monster attacking them. So as much as I really do kind of want to see it, good or bad, it's like, it's a creature feature in a theater, and like, oh my God, it's like the worst possible time, and it's not available on streaming sites or anything like that, or on, VOD, and like, oh Jesus, of all the times that you couldn't have done a co-op like everybody else has done, so we can do like a sort of co-review of it, but oh well, I digress. Hopefully, one of these days I'll see it. But we're here to talk on to bring forth our Halloween grab bag marathon, and we might as well get into it. I just want to bring up that little forethought, just like there's actually a horror movie in theaters, believe it or not. It's not on no lists or anything. It just randomly showed up. Of all the things that they're showing, like they're showing, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Lost Boys, all these older movies, Jurassic Park I saw on, brought back just like a random one. It's just like it's a British movie. So it's like out of nowhere, just like, oh man, it sucks. But nonetheless, I digress. Halloween at Aunt Ethel's. That's the film we chose, and a plot synopsis. It seems like when we do these, Ian, it's getting harder and harder. But this one has a general idea. It's not cohesive, but there's a plot in there. So this town has this old lady, old Aunt Ethel, and everyone knows she's this legend. And apparently, oh, you don't know the legend of Aunt Ethel? She kidnaps kids and it comes over on Halloween, and kids are missing, and there's no record. They can't do anything with her because there's no body, and she uses the bodies as candy and sweets and turns them into pies and everything. And there's nothing we could do for Aunt Ethel, and there's again this big elaborate thing where the whole town knows of it. People stay away from it except for the few stragglers that come in there on Halloween night that get suckered into, sort of Hansel and Gretel style, with the kids into the house with the sweets and stuff. And it's just it has a general decent idea to it. When you read the synopsis and the name, okay, it's, legend of an old lady who takes in, trick-or-treaters and turns them into pies and sweets. I'm okay, that sounds interesting. Sadly, that's just the synopsis, and you hardly get any of that. I mean, you do get Aunt Ethel, making things, but it's nothing you would kind of hope with the synopsis of the film. What we're given is a 68-minute movie where we are introduced to Michelle? Is it Michelle? And Melissa and Mandy. I don't know where I got Michelle out. Probably another movie. But Melissa and Mandy, they're friends, and they're having a Halloween party somewhere. And then, of course, Melissa doesn't want to go. Then she goes, and she finds that her boyfriend, who's a chronic masturbator and peeping Tom, is cheating on her, and that causes her to go into a fit where she runs to Mandy, her friend, and her friend Mandy and her boyfriend want to have sex constantly, but then Mandy's a whore because apparently she has crabs, and she's fucked Richie, the boyfriend that Melissa has, and there's weed and there's partying and there's all kinds of stuff and just random conversations that don't lead nowhere, and there's a little hint of Aunt Ethel in there, and then they decide to, hey, let's go kill Aunt Ethel, and that's technically the movie. Ian, am I wrong?
No, that should actually be the synopsis on the back.
Okay, so this movie was again, it's an hour and 8 minutes, and then the extra runtime is a music video that Ian had a fun time with. But we'll get into that a little bit. That's how they made it, it's only 70-some minutes. Nope, we're going to add a 10-minute long music video onto this end credits. Then we have ourselves a full feature. No, but it's 68 minutes. That's the one thing, even though it's short, it was just so boring. There was nothing, there's no reason for half this stuff, because all they do is just sit around, mope around, and there's the scene where Mandy and the boyfriend are having sex, and she tells him to leave, and then she calls him will you go get me weed, and then he goes and gets the weed, and he comes back to the house. What was the whole point of him leaving? Why didn't you just say that? Hey, go get weed. Like, oh, I'm at my friend's house. Like, oh, go get weed. You're out there, and then he's right back to the house. And then they smoke, and then like they come up with the broad idea to kill Aunt Ethel, and like they should have. I wish it is playing up more of a comedy, comedy horror. And they should have done more with that. They should have, like, the way that Aunt Ethel acts, and there was a little bit of camp, tongue-in-cheek nature to her side. They should have kept that and just played it up, made it a little bit more of like a campy gore movie, sort of like 2001 Maniacs. Whereas like it was campy, but then it had some cool gore. But they should have. Just like there was nothing to this movie, and I say that a lot here recently. There's nothing to it, but this one there's nothing to this movie. It's just them. Like she has there's two scenes where Melissa is like can't sleep and like she's running. Like it shows her different scenes with her like positioned differently in the bed 2 times, and that goes on for like a solid minute. And like there's like and like the whole thing between Melissa and Mandy and the boyfriend, and it's like because she don't believe none of this is happening, right? And like she still doesn't believe it up to the whole last act of the movie where they decide to go and shoot Aunt Ethel in the head or try to, and then her nephew gets involved because he's one of the trick-or-treaters, and then that kind of makes her go crazy and like, okay, I got to save my nephew. And the nephew, his scene at the playground was the only scene I laughed at. It was like, because it's so unexpected. It was just like, okay, that was funny. Because it was like the only thing worthwhile. Because it's so stupid. But it's the only thing I got a chuckle out of. Besides that chuckle, there was I said this to Ian, I feel sorry for the girls because like they go topless for this movie. And you kind of wish, I hate to say that because, again, I'm not bad-mouthing them. I mean, they were nice to look at, all right? They were rather cute girls. But there's, like, you just didn't need to have that happen. There's a movie that I watched last year called Midsummer Nightmares 2. It's a sequel to Midsummer Nightmares. And, like, there's a girl in that. She's so cute. She's a cutie. And she gets topless. Like, honey, you didn't need to get topless for this movie because no one's going to, it gets a random movie no one's ever going to see. And, I mean, it's technically still unknown, Midsummer's Nightmare, or Midsummer Nightmares, whatever it's called. It's in a double feature Blu-ray pack that I bought last year at Scarefest. So, again, it's relatively unknown. Like, honey, you didn't need to be topless for that. It's just a random makeout scene. And, like, these girls, there was no reason. It felt odd. I mean, honestly, I don't even know if they were still in high school or not. That's the thing. We're like, are they supposed to be high school or are they supposed to be college? What age am I looking at these girls? Because it felt like they're high school girls. And so we're having, teenage topless girls movie-wise, not real life, of course. But it's just like there's no age. I didn't get that. I mean, Ian, what's your thoughts so far? And then we'll go back and forth. I'm just rambling right now because there's nothing to really discuss. Ian? Are you there, Ian? Apparently Ian is having phone issues. Ian, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. My phone is starting to, the touch screen is starting to hit buttons that I'm not hitting, and it hit mute. I was sitting here just talking away. I 100% agree. I could not tell what age they were. And I was like, I was getting, like, college vibes in the beginning, but then I was like, starting getting high school vibes, like, toward the middle, and I was like, it doesn't explain that. And it's kind of like just left up in limbo. I guess you're supposed to use your imagination. But, yeah, I agree. Like, the nude scenes were just kind of odd. because it's like, you know, I mean, if it was caught, like, you know, because I was like, when I started to feel like it was, like, supposed to be high school girls, I started getting kind of weirded out by that, because it's just like, But, I don't know.
Especially the shower scene. That's when I was like, what are we doing here? You know, it just felt odd. And that weird sense of like, hopefully this is not going to put me on the list.
Right.
But I know it's not. It was just that feeling like, this is odd.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was just so weird and random that they had a peeping Tom guy that just jerked off. He's like, oh no, he's harmless. I didn't notice him jerking off. And, like, they didn't even notice, like, you know, their friend went missing. And, like, nobody cared. I just was like, what the hell? You all are just bringing people in just to make them disappear halfway through the movies? Like, this is weird.
Or just like characters introduced and not even there, like the black chick. Like, she gets introduced to show her tits. Like, oh, you better be at that party. And then no go. She's not seen in the movie at all.
And she wasn't even at the party.
It's just there to introduce the boyfriend, Richie, who's the masturbator. Yeah. And it just felt like she was there, and plus boobs. They were nice boobs, but boobs.
And the whole beginning of the movie was just weird too. Like, here's the. I'm assuming this is what I said. Like, I'm assuming that's Mandy's sister, and then the brother, her boyfriend, that's his brother. So apparently, both of them are dating each other. That's what I got. I guess. I don't know. Like, the mother was weird too. Like, felt like she was like, I don't know. The only mother that we see in the movie is the I'm gonna
allotted
be a MILF.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
She's one in my book.
But I was just like, that's all it focused. Like, honestly, I mean, other than Aunt Ethel, she was the only, like, semi-calm, you know, like, funny one in there. That and like, I mean, the guy with the main boyfriend, I
have no idea. I forgot his name.
His name.
Yeah.
Yeah. He when he was like just telling her to shut up and calling her stupid, and I was like, when he was like he said, like, she went missing, and she was like, what happened to her? And I was like, he's like, she went missing. I was just like, wow, this girl is dumb. Like, these girls are really dumb.
Yeah.
Like, why would you cook steak at her house? I was like, that's, like, I don't know. That was just, the writing in this movie.
I mean, I wish, the writing is
bad.
pretty bad. And the pacing, because, again, it just goes along and you're waiting for something to happen. Like, what is the plot of this movie? I mean, I understand that it's supposed to be, somehow they're supposed to get to Aunt Ethel's, and it's apparently not in the woods like you would assume it would be. It's just on the end of the town, you know, just like, you know, outskirts of the city or wherever they live, or just down an old block or somewhere that's dark and decrepit. But yeah, it's just like, what's the whole point, you know, because all they do is, like, the Mandy and the boyfriend just constantly bicker and have sex or talk about sex or weed. Melissa, just, there's really no plot, you know, no character development besides showing them how stupid they are. You know, there's, like, no growth or anything like that. And again, I understand it's a stupid horror movie, but, like, they're dumber than, like, characters in, like, a Sci-Fi Channel movie, you know, or the Asylum. They're just like, they're like the worst, like, because they don't do anything to move the story forward. It's at a standstill because, again, it's an hour and 8-minute movie. You got to keep it going. You got to keep a pace set up, and there's no pace. And then you're just like you're wanting Aunt Ethel to just like kill people, and then like she kills the boyfriend masturbator, and that's that's about it. I mean, she's because there's a reason for that she's killing people. That gets brought up at the finale of the movie, and then it ends. But yeah, I mean, you're kind of wanting a little bit more of Aunt Ethel doing her stuff because, like, she's cooking, like she's actually cooking, and that's another thing. Like, they leave things, like they just like hit it too on the nose a lot of times. Like what do you think she's? Oh, she's probably cooking a skull on the stove or something. Then it continues on. She's cooking a skull on a stove, and like she's like eating the pickled chocolates that she makes. That has the human body parts. Like, oh, everyone knows she uses human body parts as the pickled chocolates. And like, then why is she not in jail or dead? you know, if everybody knows and this big legend surrounds her and the bodies are disappearing, like they were able to do a stakeout in their car and notice kids weren't coming out. Like the cops couldn't do that.
Exactly. I was thinking that too. I was like, it falls apart so fast when you think about it. That honestly, I think the movie would have been so much better if it would have just been Aunt Ethel going fucking crazy. And honestly, I really hated the whole reveal of why she's doing it. It's like, oh, and that's just super convenient. Like, this feels forced. Like, it felt like you really didn't know what you wanted to do, and this was just, like, the first idea that popped in your head. Because, like, even the lines that were given just felt stiff. It's like, yes, this is why. Ha, ha. I'm like, and the girl's like, no. I'm just like, this is, what the fuck? Why? Like, that and the whole, just like, I want to know why she started cooking the body part. I mean, I get it to kind of get rid of the bodies. That's what they said. But, like, why is she eating them? Like, she could have just, if she's burning them in a pile in the backyard, why doesn't she just do the whole thing? Also, if they know she's burning bodies in the pile, why aren't the cops going up into it and like, oh, she's doing a fire. Let's see what she's burning. Because she's not trying to hide anything. She's putting them in fucking wheelbarrows and just out in the open. Ooh-doo-doo. And I was like, what? What the hell? Because it's like, it's literally, she's just tossing, not even in garbage bags or anything. She's just tossing the whole body apart out there.
And like, outside the shed.
I was thinking, I was like, and the cops couldn't just, they just had a hard time just trying to figure out what's going on. Like, damn, these cops are terrible. Also, these parents are terrible. I mean, hell.
And like that one, like letting their kids go out. Like that one girl, she was like 5 or 6 years old, and she's out by herself. And then of course the nephew, he's like the same age, and only the kids, like just like they know the legend, but like just those few stragglers come out here and end up being the ones that she takes. And then like, again, like no supervision, and then the one that was supervised heard gunshots and just like, okay, we're leaving. Like, well, you heard a gunshot. I mean, that's another thing. Like, you heard the legend, like, oh, well, I heard a gunshot. There's another reason to call the police. You're like, there's a gunshot.
Yeah.
Like, there's like things there that would like, of course, we wouldn't have a movie, but still, like there's just the common sense that you would put two and two together when making a film like this. You wouldn't have this, these things, like so obvious, like that doesn't make sense. Like, of course, it's a movie, it's not supposed to, but like when your characters are dull as shit and only care about one thing, and then all of a sudden, we're going to kill Aunt Ethel now. Like, we shouldn't have to deal with that. What we should have done is what Ian says, have more Aunt Ethel. Just have it Aunt Ethel. Do it sort of Hansel and Gretel style again. Of course, there's been numerous Hansel and Gretel movies, but just like have like this witch, or spoiler, she's a witch. So just have like the kids come and like she does like she attacks them or something, does something in weird ways, you know, like no one's believing, like of course one girl or something, whatever, and like I don't know, it's just like there was a better way to do this film, and I'm just like again, there's all kinds of different ideas rolling through my head of just like having that, you know, like they have the boyfriend masturbator there, and it's just he's jacking it off to Aunt Ethel, and like, you know, like yeah, I'm like you get it, man, she's curvy. That was the whole point. It was weird, but I liked it. It was like, yeah, go for the gusto. And just like, again, just like there's like these things that could have been interesting. Like they could have had that whole scene with like her like getting like liquid or something poured on her, and they could have gone for the camp. And like, of course, you know, you don't want to make the witch hot or something for some reason. Where, again, I didn't find anything wrong with it. But again, like just like do something like it warrants him masturbating to her, you know, instead of just like being there in the shed door, jacking off to her, you know, curvy butt. Just like there's like all these scenes that could have been like done a little bit. Again, if they just went for the camp, sort of the tongue-in-cheek along with Aunt Ethel, because like again, you had two different movies going on at the same time. You had Melissa and Mandy and the boyfriend, and that, you know, high school drama, college comedy, and then you have the sort of horror you know, campy horror movie going on. So it's like two different films colliding, and it doesn't work.
No. I mean, it really, like, and I feel like if it was just a tiny bit longer, at least just to give us long enough to, like, because, you know, spoiler, who cares? She's cursed, and for some reason she has to deliver souls for every day of the month. But, like, yeah, but she kills more than, it seems like she kills more than what she's supposed to. So I'm very confused.
And then the math wasn't even correct. Like, the whole thing with the math, like, oh, you're number 31, this is Melissa, and the spoilers. And, like, she said she needed 7, right? And, like, oh, you're number 31. And so I was counting, like, okay, so we're counting the little girl, and then, so that's like 3 that came in there. And then another 3, and then there's still one soul missing. I mean, you know, after you, because the one, you know, the Melissa stabs the other girl to take the spot, but that was 30. You should still be 31. So it's not, the math was wrong, or else she said the line wrong. Like, I only need 6 souls instead of 7. So I don't know. And because the nephew wasn't dead yet. The nephew wasn't dead. He was still alive.
That's what I was
so
about
he's
to
not
say.
dead.
Or so she said that he wasn't. We didn't see the kids after she took them. So it's like,
I mean, the nephew was in a cage.
Did she kill them? Yeah. Did she kill all the other kids, I'm guessing? Or did she know that that was her nephew and kept her so she can do what she did at the end? Why is, you know, like, it didn't make sense. Like, the curse was just thrown out there. You know, it was just like, literally, it just felt forced. And then,
but I just didn't, like, again, no witch. They didn't need to add the witch in there. I mean, it just felt like she could have just been an old lady who killed her family, and she decides to, you know, make pies and candy out of human, you know, children. You know, it was like, but they didn't need the whole soul thing, and like it felt like it could have just been more, you know, just more campy if they didn't do the whole witch aspect. I mean, not saying it didn't. Yeah. It just didn't really feel right. The whole witch thing, but again, the whole film I loathed. I did not really enjoy it one bit. I only enjoyed the nephew at the park where he comes down to the Melissa and like, that girl over there pushed me. What should I do? Should I choke her out? And it's like, no, just go there and say, you know, tell her, you know, to apologize. And then she's on the phone. He comes back down like, he's like, what is it? I choked her out. That was like the best fucking part.
Yeah. like, I mean, other than, like, the boyfriend calling them out for being stupid and just, like, laugh, I got a few chuckles out of it, but not because, like, what they did was funny. It was just, like, how I was laughing at how stupid the writing for these girls were. Like, I get it. But I don't know, like, and now what is Aunt Ethel going to do? Because she's got this legend built around her, and she's now passed the, whatever. She passed the curse on. So now she's going to stop making pickled people? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't really understand even why she did that in the first place. Like I said, it's just like,
yeah, it seems like she enjoyed it.
Like,
so, like, there was no reason, like, she would want the curse to be gone. She enjoyed that, and she had fun when she was making it. It was, like a cook, of course, like, oh, my God, I can't wait. It tastes so good. I said, I'm going to put you back in there for later. And then, like, oh, you killed my 31st, quote-unquote 31st. Yeah, now you have the curse, and I'm just apparently
and you get
an old woman now.
And you get this random fucking notebook that just has a bunch of scribbles in it. And now you're cursed, but what the fuck does the curse do? Why do you have to do the souls? Do you die? If you don't do it, you go get dragged to hell or something? Do you become like a slave? What? What happens?
Yeah, there was like
nobody knows.
No reason. There's like no justification for what the curse brings. It's just, there's a curse. Like, okay.
Yep. What? Why is there
just because?
What the fuck did you do?
There it is.
Yep. It seems like,
and it doesn't bring anything either to her, to Aunt Ethel. Like, oh, she killed her husband and her family 40 years ago, and like, okay, so that's the reason that she has a curse. But apparently she's a witch. So, where did you get married along the way? Have a kid just because you needed souls?
And when she was filling up the blood with the cup, and then she had that stuff in the because when she opened up her refrigerator, she counted 20. She said, I got 20. And I was sitting there counting, too. I was like, if she needs 31, she is way off. Like, way off. Because unless she's, like, killing people off screen, But I don't even know. Like, it was just not cohesive.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. Like I said, it was two different films butting heads, and it just was not working either way.
Storyboards.
Like I said, it just was not. It was just not enjoyable, even for 68 minutes. It was just like, I mean, we had more fun with Pigster, and that was like not around the same time, same runtime, and that one like it had so many ideas. I mean, it was not perfect, but like at least it was cohesive enough, and
it was funny.
Yeah, it had some fun scenes, and like the creature effects was good. But this one, like, oh my God, it's just like, no, it's just like it wasn't working.
Even the costume design for Ethel was pretty bad. Like, you could tell that was like a wig and everything.
It was a bad wig. She had to adjust it a few times.
Yeah. And I just was...
Go ahead, Ian. Go ahead.
I just was sitting there just thinking to myself, just like, why? Like, just give us more, just go back to the storyboard before you finalize this and rewatch and be like, does this actually make sense? No, okay, let's just tweak this. And I feel like that's all it really needed was just a little tweaking and better delivery of the lines.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if they just
needed better characters. It's just like, pick them out of a hat. Honestly, like, okay, so we're going to have slutty schoolgirl, and
prude.
What else are we going to have? We're going to have
she's a prude.
Yeah, the prude. We're going to have the slutty mother.
Give him a handy job.
Yeah. And that was just... it was just bad. It was just like all the call, like, again, that high school comedy college type movie, just butting heads with a campy horror movie, and just, oh my God, it was awful. There's nothing to this besides that. Besides some, again, not to sound weird, but there were some nice boobs, even though I'm not sure exactly what age group I'm supposed to consider them at in the movie. And then that funny scene with the nephew in the park. That was like the only thing. Like, again, I feel sorry for him for, like, ladies, you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to. It felt like it was just like a movie he was making just to get boobs. Like, I know these girls, they're going to do this movie, and I'm going to get boobs in it, and I'm going to see them. Like, I've been wanting to see them. It just felt like, like in high school class, if you had like after a while, like you become like a indie filmmaker, and like you have like girls that you knew in high school, and you want to see them, you wanted to see them during high school, like, I can make them into this low budget indie movie. Maybe they'll go topless for it. It just felt like that. I think probably not. You never know. You can never know. But there's always that, thought you can think of. Like, I feel like this was a project just to get tits, because again, that black girl is not in it at all besides to show her tits. And it's like, he wanted to see those boobies.
Exactly. And I kept thinking, I was like, what happened to her? Like, I just chalked it up that Aunt Ethel got her. That's literally all I did. I was just like, anybody that comes and goes in this movie, Aunt Ethel got her.
Yeah. There's nothing. I don't recommend it. This, as I said to Ian, I'd rather watch 8-Ball Clown again, because I'd rather watch my brain melt than to be bored to death.
Right.
Because at least with 8-Ball Clown, you're just like, you're going through the emotions, you're going ups and downs. It's a roller coaster. This one, you're just like, you're waiting for it to end. You're just like, oh my God, just kill me. Whereas like there's, like this one, it's like you're going on the biggest roller coaster with fucking 8-Ball Clown, and then you're just going on the kiddie, like the butterflies that go up and down in the air with this one. It's like, at least you're knowing if you're going on a ride with 8-Ball Clown. So I'd rather go for a ride and hope for death, Final Destination 3 right off the ramp, than to just slowly go around in a circle on a kiddie ride. So yeah, that's what I chalk it up to. Ian, any final thoughts before we draw a close to Halloween at Aunt Ethel's?
I think I'm just gonna chase my tail complaining about this movie. So.
Yeah. And it seems like we complain, but it's just like, if the movies are good, we'll not complain. Like, it's a movie. It's up for debate, and there's a lot of stuff to debate in this one. And like I said, it's not the worst. Like I said, when you have a film like 8-Ball Clown, like, it's beyond bad, but you want to watch that numerous times over something like so plain, and just like, there's something wrong with your movie if you'd rather watch a film directed by an 8-year-old.
Yeah, and it was funny because I started the movie at around like 10:30, and I looked at it, and I looked at the time, and I was like, it's over already? Like, I thought it was like I was cutting close to the show. It started like, I think 10:30. And it honestly felt like 2 hours had passed. And I was just like, holy shit, this movie is not good. Because, I think there was like 2 or 3 deaths on screen throughout the whole movie.
Yes.
And that was it. I was just like, she's killing 31 people. I would have loved to have seen her go through and hunt down 31 people and do it, in like the campiest way possible. Like that Valentine's Day movie when like he grabbed the cookie cutter and that random fucking cookie cutter and it was like doing little hearts and shit. I was like, I would have loved to see something like that. Like that would have been more entertaining to her just hunting people down, like 31 people. And just killing them. I think that right there would have been a whole much better movie.
But sadly, that's not what happened because apparently this director, again, I've seen another movie he directed. I was looking it up, like, what else has this guy done? And he did a movie called Scathing, and that was not very good either, but it was better than this. But that one,
yeah.
Anyway, I digress. We're going around in circles, and we need to go ahead and, because I think we're already dug this film deep into the ground, and there's nothing else to really say because there's no general plot. But anyway, that is Halloween at Aunt Ethel's, our first of the Halloween grab bag. We had to pull out black licorice the first time, so hopefully we'll get a Snickers bar next time. But who knows? So again, we got our. That's how these marathons go. We have a set of titles or new things coming in, and we go with the flow, and this is the first one. But those synopses, man, are the what's killer because they sound so good, and they're just like, nope, they're shit. But I digress. Ian, as always, it's great talking with you. Hopefully our film next week will be interesting, to say the least. And be safe in your everyday life, and I will talk to you next time, buddy.
All right. Good night.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next time.